Hey, what's up guys? I'm standing here at Mission San Fernando Rey de España, the 17th mission built out of the 21 by Junipero Serra. Let's go and explore the history behind this mission. In 1769, the Spanish Portola expedition, the first Europeans to see inland areas of California, traveled north through the San Fernando Valley. On August 7th, they camped at the watering place near where the mission would later be established. The rancher Francisco Reyes, then the mayor of the Pueblo de Los Angeles, was approved by the padres as a suitable site for the mission. After a brief negotiations, the land was acquired. The mission was founded on September 8, 1797, by Father Fermín Lasuén, who, with the assistance of Fray Francisco Dumetz, performed the ceremonies and dedicated the mission to San Fernando Rey de España, making it the fourth mission site he had established. Only 2 months after dedication, the first buildings were finished. In early October of the same year, 13 adults were baptized, and the first marriage took place on October 8. At the end of the year, there were 55 neophytes. Fray Dumetz and his associate, Fray Francisco Javier Urria, labored in the mission until it was completed in 1799. A year later, there were 310 neophytes, 352 baptisms, and 70 deaths. A second church also replaced the first one due to the population growth. Fray Dumetz was on and off the mission until finally, in 1805, he left permanently, the same year as Fray Urria. In 1805, Fray Nicolas Lazaro and Fray Jose Maria Salvidia took over the mission, and the adobe church with a tile roof was blessed in December 1806. Fray Jose Antonio Urria and Pedro Muñoz arrived in 1807 to replace the two priests who moved to a different mission. Fray Urria retired in 1808 and was succeeded by Fray Martin de la Deta, while Fray Jose Antonio Oresti arrived in 1809 and became the associate of Fray Muñoz. During the first decade of the century, the neophyte population increased from 310 to 955. There had been 1797 deaths and 1468 baptisms. At its peak, the mission had 30,000 grapevines along with winemaking facilities. 2,100 head of livestock browsed the area. In 1810, the famous long convent building was finished. It was 243 feet long, 50 feet wide, and 2 stories high, with 2 arches along the front. It became the largest adobe building in California. In 1812, a series of devastating earthquakes brought many of the mission buildings down. On December 8, the rightwood quake weakened and brought down buildings. And on the 21st of December, the quake destroyed much of the new church. The convent was the only building left standing. Fray Ramon Oliveri arrived in January and Fray Francisco Gonzalez de Ibarra arrived in October 1820, replacing the other padres. During the period of 1810 to 20, the population increased slightly, reaching its highest figure of 1,080. After that, the mission's population slowly declined. Fray Oliveri died in 1821 and Fray Ibarra was stationed alone in the mission. After the Mexican Empire gained independence through Spain on October 27, 1821, the missions continued under the rule of Mexico. Fray Ibarra began to complain that the soldiers of his guards were causing problems by selling liquor and lending horses to the natives. He told them that the soldiers should go to work and raise grain, and not to live on the toil of the Indians, whom they robbed and deceived with talk of liberty, while in reality they were treated as slaves. This led to a sharper reply from Captain Guerra, who advised the padre to modify his tone. Fray Ibarra eventually left due to hostility of civil authorities, and he was replaced by Fray Pedro Caboy from San Antonio, who was stationed there until his death on October 1836. In 1842, a worker at a local rancho pulled up onions and found gold flakes in the roots. This caused a mini gold rush 6 years before the big 1849 Gold California strike. Over the next 4 years, everything that could be dug in the area were dug up, including the floor of the church, under the assumption that the padres had hidden a store of gold underneath. In 1845, California Governor Pio Pico leased the mission property to his brother Andres to use as a summer house. They ended when Colonel Fremont occupied the mission for a short period in 1847. In 1861, the courts gave the property back to the church. Charles Fletcher Loomis acted for preservation, but little was done to preserve the buildings. The buildings were disintegrated as beams, tiles, and nails were taken from the church by settlers. The convent was leased out to be used as a hog farm. On August 6, 1916, the Landmarks Club took interest in restoration. They organized a ceremony where 6,000 individuals came, bought candles for $1 each, and formed a procession. Thus began the long process of turning the piles of adobe back into a mission. San Fernando's church became a working church again in 1923 when the oblate priests arrived. Many attempts were made to restore the old mission, but it was not until the Hearst Foundation gave a large amount of money in the 1940s that the mission was finally restored. The museum became the repository for heirlooms of the Mexican church evacuated during the Cristero Revolt, and also hold parts of the Doheny Library. The church was listed as a National Register of Historic Places in 1971, but it was extensively damaged by the 1971 San Fernando earthquake and was completely rebuilt, completed in 1974. It continues to be well maintained and used today as a chapel of peace. The convent building was separately listed on the Heritage List in 1988. In 2003, comedian Bob Hope was interred here in the Bob Hope Memorial Gardens, followed by his widow Dolores Hope in 2012. So that's it for the history of the Mission San Fernando de Rey. Now let's explore the mission grounds with a self-guided tour. So guys, I hope you enjoy our little tour of Mission San Fernando. Until next time, bye! So guys, if you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and feel free to comment. Hit the bell! Hit the bell!